Hey, I'm Cheryl Fidelman, the Conscious Codependence Coach, and I'm going to talk today about the codependent awakening, which is a common experience for a lot of people who identify as codependent or suspect they just might have some codependent habits or behaviors. The codependent awakening for a lot of us is a phase where our point of view shifts and we go, oh my gosh, I've been codependent for so many years, decades of my life, so for some of us, our whole life, meaning I've been disconnected from myself. I've been thinking that my life is everybody else's fault, or I've been trapped inside of myself, not having a voice, not being able to express my wants or desires, not knowing what my talents, gifts, and passions are, or knowing them, but not feeling like I could say what they are because I feel so different, or I feel so ashamed, or I feel so guilty. So some version of being locked inside of ourselves for so many years, and now all of a sudden that lock sort of starts to open up, and we go, oh my gosh, I've been silenced, I've been repressed, I've been allowing myself to be dominated by other people and pressed down for so long. And there is this awakening where the clouds part and we go, oh, now I actually want to learn how to direct my own life, being connected with my desires and my preferences and my voice. So I'm going to talk today about what I call the codependent awakening, how the conscious codependence process facilitates that awakening for a lot of people. And I'm also going to talk about the conscious codependence self-freedom starter kit, which I created as a self-paced program, and the link is below, so I'm going to talk about that. All right, here we go. The codependent awakening. Please like or subscribe to my channel. Keep the comments coming, and here we go. This is a crucial moment for a lot of us who identify as codependent, the codependent awakening. It includes what I call codependent regret, where we wake up and we look back and we go, oh my gosh, I wasted 5, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years of my life in some repressed, muted version of myself. And we go, where did all that time go? How was I so blind to myself? And also codependent regret can include embarrassment. It can include humiliation. It can include, oh my gosh, other people saw my life in that form and I wasn't seeing it. Why didn't anybody say anything? Or maybe some people did say something and I just couldn't hear it at that time. I couldn't listen. I couldn't receive the information because I was blocked. Codependent regret includes grief. It includes codependent grief. It includes lamenting over the lost time. It includes some level of shock. Like, how did I do that? How did I not see this? How did I allow all of these things to happen? Which is a huge part of the codependent awakening. When we start to go, how did I allow this? And this is a huge part of the conscious codependence process. It's a unique program that I've meticulously designed to bring people through to heal codependence, to heal our nervous system, to heal the regressive nature, because codependence is regressive. And so I heal that default of going into these regressive behaviors. I help people heal that out of their nervous system so that they can bring inner peace, consistent inner peace, consistent self-trust, and consistent safety to any interaction in any situation in life. And a common experience of the codependent awakening is, okay, great, I've had this awakening, okay, the clouds have cleared, my frame of reference and my point of view about myself and about other people and about my identity is shifting. Now, how do I operate with these new awarenesses? Who am I with these new awarenesses? How do I navigate my relationships in my life with these new awarenesses? And that's where the conscious codependence process comes in. Because even though you may have a cognitive, intellectual understanding of a lot of this stuff, the conscious codependence process will have your somatics, your nervous system, your body just as intelligent as your mind. You'll have languaging to the new you. You'll have languaging and how to communicate in this new way with relationships that have sort of an old languaging pattern to them, right? Because sometimes it's like, well, how do I communicate differently in these relationships when I'm so used to communicating a different way? You'll have facility on how to love and speak in a way that actually matches you. And a lot of us were blocked by the limits of our traumatic identity. And for those of you who know my work, the traumatic identity is the loudest voice of your youngest unhealed trauma. From the point of view of my work, your traumatic identity is the identity that was created in reaction to your parents' or guardians' psychology or reality. And so we are sort of blocked and boxed in by this smaller, more traumatic identity. It's trying to keep us safe. It's perceiving threat where there isn't threat. It's a lower version of ourselves. It's a muted version of ourselves. And for a lot of us codependents, it's a version of ourselves that gives other people so much more power, that we're so much more in service to other people's realities than our own. And then we have this awakening and we go, oh my gosh, I can actually be in service to my reality. I'm starting to feel that kind of permission to be in service of my own reality. I'm starting to notice that other people are actually not more powerful than me, that other people actually can't shut me down unless I allow them to. And the thing about the regressive nature of codependence is that when we were kids, for the most part, we had to allow people to shut us down. We had to shut down in reaction to our parents or guardians or our abusers or whatever person or event or series of events that we experienced trauma. We had to shut down and conform to somebody else's reality in order to keep ourselves safe. And now, as we get older and we go, I don't need that regressive safety element of trauma anymore. I don't need the regressive safety element of codependence anymore because I actually am safe. Because other people's behavior is no longer a threat to me. It's only a threat if I perceive it to be a threat. Now, oftentimes codependence is unconscious and we are unconsciously perceiving threats that are not there. And so our nervous system regressively doesn't know the difference between a real threat or a perceived threat. And in this codependent awakening, a lot of us go, oh my gosh, there are so few threats. And I'm not speaking of physical threats. If you're being physically abused, I'm not speaking of that. This is something separate. These are existential threats, right? Where a lot of us codependents, we hear an infliction in somebody's voice, right? Or we have a whole bunch of past-based stuff that we're carrying with us that we feel shame around. And so we want to contort ourselves to fit somebody else's reality because we don't want to lose them, or we don't want to get abandoned, or we don't get rejected. In this codependent awakening, we start to be willing to lose what we have to lose in order for our real true self to emerge. And when we go through the conscious codependence process, for a lot of people, we don't lose as much as we anticipated we would lose because codependence is a future tripping act. Codependence is not present. It future trips many steps ahead and sort of plays this chess game so that we can keep the peace and be quiet and repressed and sweep everything under the rug in the moment. So the closer we get to ourselves, the more we realize that sometimes there isn't a whole lot to shed from our past life other than our own fear and our own smallness. Now, one of the, I think, the most important pieces of the codependent awakening, particularly when it comes to the point of view of my work, and this might be the more radical piece of what I particularly have to say around this stuff, is our codependent awakening has absolutely nothing to do with narcissists. It has nothing to do with other people. I'm really, really passionate about this because there's so much out there about the narcissist and how we stay away from the narcissist and how we put boundaries up against the narcissist and how the narcissists ruin our lives. The more we focus on other people, narcissists or not, the less we will heal and arise from ourselves. The less the codependent will rise, the more we focus on the other person. It doesn't matter about the narcissist anymore. It doesn't matter how they behave anymore. It doesn't matter how anybody else behaves anymore, as long as you know and are aligned with your truth. And this is what the conscious codependence process brings back into your nervous system. Some of us, it either brings it back or it invents it within you, because a lot of us were just born into not having a self, right? For some of us, it was traumatized out of us, and I return you back to safety and a true alignment within self. And if it was never there because it was traumatized out of you from birth, because your holding environment was so unsafe that you dissociated from yourself almost immediately, we could never know that for sure, but for some people it's likely what happened. I think that's what happened with me. Then we will remind your nervous system. We will develop in your nervous system what it is already skilled in doing but didn't get to develop that skill, which is you get to develop a sense of self that is non-negotiable. Your unique particular identity that is non-negotiable. Because what narcissists and codependents have in common is a lack or absence completely of self. And so they're mirroring a lack of self, just with a different style. And so I really want to be a sounding board for taking the attention off of narcissists in the world of codependence, okay? We just talk so much about how codependence, how narcissists are our kryptonite and how to stay away from them, and they're the bad guys. They're not the bad guys. Maybe when we were children, they were, yes, because we were victims to other people's realities when we were children. When we are older, in our codependent awakening, we are no longer victims to anybody else's reality but our own. We are no longer victims to other people repressing us. We are victims to our own inner automatic repression. Now, I'm not talking politically or the world at large. I'm not saying there's no such thing as race repression or gender repression or anything like that. I'm talking specifically about the experience of codependence. I'm talking specifically about the experience of dissociating from ourselves in order to serve somebody else's reality. I'm talking specifically about the codependent experience of noticing other people's feelings and other people's psychology before we notice and serve our own. And it goes across races, religions, cultures, gender. It's human. It's a human phenomenon, and I am out to normalize it. It's normal. It's extremely common for us to notice other people before and instead of noticing ourselves. And it's actually what we have in common with those people that we say are narcissistic or whatever. It's what we have in common with them. A disconnection from self, a pointing the finger. You're acting like this. You're operating like this. You're doing it this way. A lot of us codependents, and I say that a lot of codependence is righteous. We get righteous about how other people are being and what they're doing and how they should do it differently and how they should know how they're treating us. And we're right about what they think and what they think about us. The codependent awakening and how the conscious codependence process facilitates the codependent awakening is that we take our energy out of other people's brains. We get fully aligned with our truth, our gifts, our passions, our projections, our interpretations, our emotions, our sensations, so that we can be 100% clear and non-negotiable with our own experience, regardless of what other people think. And then we can add some relational flexibility, right? We can then, once we're clear over here with ourselves, we then can add bearing witness to other people with adding and subtracting nothing, without fixing them or changing them, without even needing to relate or understand them, that we actually just witness another person because we have the ability to fully witness ourselves without trying to change it or make ourselves wrong or think we should feel something different. When we can fully embody ourselves and move through life fully embodied, then we can witness another person's embodied experience. So, like I said earlier, I have created the Conscious Codependence Self-Freedom Starter Kit. Okay, I'll tell you right now, it's only $197. It's 7 videos, and then there are some extra videos, extra bonus videos in there. It's a self-paced video program. So if you're feeling like you're interested in my work, you're not quite ready for the main flagship program, and you want to have a taste of it, a self-paced taste of it, the Self-Freedom Starter Kit will make a huge, huge difference in your codependent awakening as you are looking to return back to the innate design and self-freedom, self-permission, and the self-safety that is I believe is your birthright. So the link to the Self-Freedom Starter Kit is below. We have our free and monthly Conscious Codependence class next Thursday. It will be on this very topic, the Codependent Awakening. Conscious Codependence community comes together every month, the third Thursday of every month. I am massively, with all my heart and soul, passionate about normalizing codependence, putting a flashlight on how absolutely common it is for the human being to walk through life dissociated and disconnected from themselves. It's common. I'm not saying it's every human, but it's common, especially in intimate relationships, because the intimate relationship can recreate our entire holding environment as children. So we often regress to who we were and how the person we had to be to survive our childhood household. We regress to that person and some of those habits in our intimate relationships or at work. Okay, for some people it's like compartmentalized, like intimate relationship great, at work no voice. Right? At work is great, or at home intimate relationship no voice, or all of the above. For me it used to be like in every category. I was just wanted everybody to like me and was like just some smaller, muted, scared version of myself who was like manipulating to get my way because I didn't know how to actually speak my just actual clear feelings and desires. So I was manipulating because I thought I was being manipulated, and I was projecting into other people's worlds and trying to talk in a way that I thought they could hear me because I didn't think they were hearing me. And it was like a hall of mirrors of distortion that I feel like I was living in. And so the Codependent Awakening, the Conscious Codependence process will dissolve that hall of mirrors so you can be directly with who you actually are. And then you can be directly with who actually other people are. You can stand in front of yourself with your open heart and your broken heart at the same time and be able to hold all of you and not have to change anything. And you'll be able to do the same with other people. Intimacy with yourself and others will be present. And that is the Conscious Codependence process. And that's the North Star of the Codependent Awakening, is true presence of self and intimacy in any given moment. Thank you again for listening to my thoughts, theories, and rants. I wish you the best on your healing journey and in your codependent awakening. Happy healing, and life is now, because your relationship with yourself is where it all begins.